All right, everybody, we are back for game number 2 of this best of 5 here. Once again, yours truly, Kinderspiel. I'm joined with Nilix.
Hey!
And get right into this. Teams are already in Champion Select.
Yep, switching the sides here of the map here and going into game number 2. Now, if you are fan club here, are you thinking about banning some of the comp you saw last game, or are you going to try to go with something new? Nope, you're doing that.
Just straight out the bat saying we do not want to deal with Mordekaiser again. Bo was an absolute monster last game. If you are just
never again.
Yeah, for sure.
And I, once again, cannot blame them at all.
But also some similar bans here from game number 1. Vladimir also being banned here from Endgame, as well as Aphelios being banned. They don't want to see Feral Hogs on that champion. Similar bans still. Olaf also being banned again here for...
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I suppose.
Yeah. Caitlyn ban, though, coming in here. So definitely targeting other AD carry that Feral Hogs has played a lot of. So he will not be on Aphelios or Caitlyn. And personally, I'm very intrigued to see who he's going to whip out here.
And we're seeing almost the exact same bans. I said it, but I guess really it is true. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We didn't have to deal with them. Why deal with them this time when we didn't last time and we won?
So it'll be interesting to see who Martin Cabello does opt to first lock in here, as it is coming through as Leona.
Yep, got that Leona again. Now, they may not have won. The Leona is getting a lot done. I can see why they would want to go back to that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the better parts of their game last in game number 1. Definitely helped them come back into the game and install it for the later stages.
But it looks like we have already... Oh,
or
never mind.
Once again being slipped in the draft, able to be picked up by Endgame here. I personally believe this is a pretty big blunder, although it's kind of tough because if you're not... I do agree with the bans coming out from Endgame here, or from Mark Bell here. Mordekaiser was annoying, get Feral off those 2 ADs, but I feel like that really puts you in the situation of having to first pick Horn because he's just so strong right now, and they let him get through and picked up once again by Endgame.
Well, and it looks like Endgame may actually be duplicating a lot of their strategy here. I was going to say when I saw Nocturne that they were flipping a lot of it on its head, but we've already seen Ornn and Sejuani, though we are seeing quite a big change from Fan Club with Trundle and Echo.
Also important to note that Slamiel is actually going to be able to play his Sejuani instead of being picked away by Troll, so it's good for them for sure. And
oh yes, of course, I'm getting things turned around. Ignore me.
Quick switch to Renekton. This looks like it'll be a mid-croc.
Maybe. Although, if I could entertain a small rant of mine now, you may have gathered from a few things I said that I played this game ages ago. I used to play League a lot. I haven't played a lot in current seasons. I have never liked Trundle's new design. I liked the way he used to be.
I don't even remember old Trundle, to be entirely honest with you.
And I'll bet that a lot of people I'm talking to are like, what is this old geezer talking about? What old Trundle?
I personally am a fan of new Trundle, but that's just me. And again, I don't know the old Trundle. But the support pick has yet to be coming through for the bot lane of Endgame. See that Pike ban coming out, still keeping Joe off of that pocket pick.
And another Kaisa ban. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Are we seeing so far 4 out of 5 of the same bans from Endgame?
Definitely are. Definitely.
Are we actually going to see a 5-for-5 repeat here? Yup.
Was Kha'Zix banned in the last game?
Yes, he was. At least by someone. I could be remembering the team wrong, but I know I commented.
Definitely very similar bans. Either way, if one of them's different. But that Vayne ban coming out again, it's interesting here that they're leaving Maekie's Ezreal open again. I'm curious if they did some research that I am unaware of here about some of Maekie's more comfortable AD carries, but definitely is very comfortable on the Ezreal here. So we'll have the opportunity to whip it out once again, but maybe changing it up here.
I'm quite interested to see the Ash pick here. Ash had, last I had known, fallen quite out of favor due to her lack of mobility and etc. But I always really liked her, as we do see Makey picking that Ezreal back up.
Ash is definitely a very viable champion. Definitely brings a lot to the table with the Enchanted Arrow as well. Just general CC from the slows.
Oh, yeah, you slow. If you can never move at full speed, is it really slow? Or are you just slow?
Very difficult question. Don't get me thinking about that one.
Hey, you gotta work out your brain on these streams. See, tell your parents if you live with them. We're educational. We give you questions about real life.
But once again, very heavy CC comps here coming in, especially for endgame here. The Sejuani. I mean, don't even get me started. Sejuani, Ornn, Ashe, Renekton, lots of CC available on all these members. Even Brand's got some. It's a little bit harder to get off, but definitely doable.
I feel like we've got so much to talk about that we've almost got nothing to talk about in terms of their CC. I mean, we could literally talk about that for the entire time we were waiting the game to start, because every single member of their team has something that will ruin your day in terms of not getting to play. And honestly, yeah, if you get hit by 2 or 3 of those at the same time, you're just dead without even dying. Like, you don't even need to die, you're just not going to do anything anyway.
Take a look at these comps. Outside of the CC, though, we do see pretty similar comp coming in, or similar champions at least, coming in for Martin Cabello Fan Club here. They got that Ezreal, they got the Leon, they got the Moon. Witchblades, instead of playing Rumble here, has opted to play Echo, still an AP mid. And then obviously instead of Sejuani, they got Trundle. But once again, they're kind of looking at this really scaly comp, because Echo scales extremely well, Ezreal scales well, Mundo scales very well, and then you got the CC from Leona, always effective at any stage of the game. But you take a look at endgame, they're also kind of trying to scale. Obviously, Renekton's a pretty early game champion, but he can be effective later on as well, especially if he's got the backup from other champions. Ornn, that extreme late game champion.
Excuse me.
Ashe, not necessarily a hyper carry in the late game, but definitely still effective. And this Brand doing excessive amounts of damage. But mainly just the scaling coming through from Ornn is that they're gonna be not too bad in the end game as well. So on top of the fact that the early game playmaking from slamming on the Sejuani will be it's usually pretty effective and good at jumping them out to a pretty early lead here. So Marketable Fan Club opting for the scaling comp once again. We'll see how it works out for them this time.
So not just a scaling comp, I would argue, but also a split comp. So endgame is extremely powerful with all that CC, with the high, even if not hyper carry damage out of a lot of their characters. But Fan Club here, Mundo, to quote him, goes where he pleases. If Mundo decides that he's going to push your top lane, Mundo's going to push your top lane. If Ezreal is hanging out with any kind of support, he can siege unless you're just going to dive him. Echo can roam really nicely. You can see Echo, at least I like to play Echo in the jungle, and roam around, get those ambush attacks. And Trundle does not have the kind of high CC teamfight impact of Sejuani, but that pillar and the ability to chase someone down and disrupt people for ganks, I think this might be a matter of, can Fan Club put enough pressure on the map to prevent a full fight from breaking out, or can endgame force them to ball up in response and take that high CC team fight? This one might be a game of comp strategies. Last game I didn't think was, I thought was just a game of plays. This one I can see these teams trying to push the game in 2 completely different directions.
Will be definitely interesting to see how they opt to play it out. Are hopping into this as the spectator delay has elapsed. Cabello Fan Club looking to strike back, even up this at 1-1. Endgame definitely trying to take that quick and early 2-0 lead.
Has Mikey's rune set changed?
Conqueror Ezreal. Believe, at the risk of sounding stupid, I believe that's a fine rune choice to be taking.
I'm not questioning his decisions. I just don't remember that being what it was before. Now, granted, as I've said, a lot of my knowledge can sometimes be a bit out of date, but last I knew, you generally didn't take Conqueror on a ranged champion, and I don't think we saw that from Mikey last game.
I do believe Conqueror is a viable pick on Ezreal because you get that healing. I don't know if it's necessarily the optimal, but I believe it's definitely fine.
Well,
but again, I don't actually know, so if I'm actually wrong, it's very possible.
Well, besides, I've always been a fan of, if it works at all and you have fun, go with it. And some people would argue that that's not how you want to think in these kinds of tournament settings. But then again, if it's what you're good with and it's what you like, and that advantage is what helps you, can you really say no?
We did see a 5-point start actually here, briefly.
Though it looks like
Cabello, or Endgame, excuse me.
Samuel getting that ward into the blue buff that Hannah was guarding, though. Hannah did see it, so we do have mutual wards on that buff. But that does seem to be our kind of like a little early game sneaky placement.
Yeah, and Samuel heading all the way back to her blue side, so it might make people think that she was seeing the top side. Could be possible they think she's starting at her red, but did walk back.
Good point.
We do see Logawa showing pretty early here. Back to Cabello.
And Bo managing to get an early little punish on Witchblade there. Nothing that Witchblade can't come back from, just a bit. Although, in fact, that health balance quickly changing in both directions, actually. I keep snapping back to that mid lane because I think something's happening. But basically, just they are going in and out of each other's range a lot.
Yeah, mid Renekton definitely not something you see quite as often, but definitely a viable play here.
Hey, it's got me interested.
Especially Bo looking very, very confident last match. Definitely to whip out something aggressive here. As we do see Samuel here looking for the early gank.
Ooh.
The dash did come in there from Witchblades.
And here it comes!
Flash burn, but the stun is available. But
it hits just a little too deep for their taste.
Samuel once again is prioritizing this mid lane early on.
Well, it paid off once.
That's very true. Definitely looking to put a lot of resources through Bo, it seems.
I will say that in some ways, Renekton and Mordekaiser have a lot of... Oh, flash coming out from Bo into the stun.
That will be first blood as that DOT ticks down.
Using everything he had for it, but picking it up.
Renekton definitely one of those early game champs you have to be extremely careful of at all of the laning phase.
And with that first blood, he is establishing his position in that spot. And we talked about how well endgame could scale here, but if Bo on Renekton can cover the early game advantage, that could get them to that scale all the quicker. But we aren't there yet. Slamuel jumping into top lane to give Hannah a bit of a problem with all those stuns. Is Hannah's flash up? Apparently not.
It was available, but opted not use it there. But we'll be paying for that with her life, as 2 kills now on the side of endgame. Also in this mid lane, could be difficult for Witchblades to farm in the short before he gets some more damage and wave clear with his abilities, because getting close to this Renekton could prove fatal extremely quickly, especially with that first blood gold.
But no, you're definitely correct there. We have seen some decent hits coming out of those Qs already, especially if the snapback can go through Bo. Yes, Bo may have gotten that early kill, but that doesn't mean he doesn't take magic damage still.
Do see Troll hovering this mid lane, but we'll be walking over. Definitely always need to be careful ganking a Renekton lane early on, because you mess up.
Although I think that pillar may have just given Bo a bit of a problem.
It's definitely well executed there from Troll. Despite the full Fury stacks on the Renekton, was put in a bad spot there, taken down.
Yeah, I feel like Bo might have been riding a little too much of the adrenaline high there, and forgetting that that wall is about 10 feet wider than you think it is if you're fighting a Trundle.
CS numbers pretty even across the board, though. A little bit of an advantage here on Troll again, but nothing substantial. Only 4 CS about a camp.
Taking a quick peek at this bot lane, we have a much more poke and don't come back setup here without any sustain innately on either side of the field. But with that offensive brand support coming out, there's kind of a more in poke versus more engage paradigm going on. And so far, Mikey's feeling the hurt from it.
And also Dragon being started up here. Nobody in the area of Cabello Fan Club, and no definitely will be taken down here.
A quick free first Earth Dragon.
So despite the pretty even gold situation, Dragon picked up there in their pockets.
And, you know, that Earth Drake is actually going to feel really, really good. Because now I'm not remembering quite. Does Ashe's multi-shot attack, does that work on turrets, or can she only do that to champions and minions and stuff?
I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I played an Ashe game. I should be able to tell you, but I cannot.
Well, I'm going to assume for a second that it does, because if it does, that Earth Drake is going to be absolutely terrifying. And it can be anyway, because Ashe will get some monstrous attack speed. But if it also stacks... Oh, wait a minute, we have a fight breaking out in mid, as... Looks like Troll really does not want Bo getting anywhere, but the teleport and the roam from bottom...
Does flash the orange charge there, but the flash coming from Slamil trying to follow up. It's going to be enough.
However, the massive knock-up on Witchblades, and he dove back in. I'm not sure I would have made that decision, even with the tower.
He's level 6, does have that timer wand available.
True enough.
Speed, it's not gonna help you very much.
Yeah, but you know, if the CC's down and you're not dead, R.
Yep. It's definitely one of the. I'm not. Oh, almost face checking Bo there.
Instead, managing to get a quick passive pop on him, ulting. Oh, barely not being in his own conversions, but here comes Troll Danube, and Bo is biting off just a little more than he can chew, but still trades for Witchblade's life thanks to the help of Ignite and some big AoE cleaves.
Pretty big misplay there from Witchblades, not hitting that E auto attack onto Bo. Definitely costing him his life there.
I'd say the other part that missed, though, he kind of had to move out, was Witchblades tried to ultimate into his own convergence there and get that massive shield and stun, but was forced to ult just a second too early. The convergence just hadn't landed, and Echo is a champion of split seconds.
Definitely have to get that timing correct in a lot of these situations. Troll the Noob now on the Herald, but we do see Lil Gawa coming down here. Maybe we'll spot him out on it.
Looks like Lil Gawa might just be dealing with wards. Yep, that's going to be their chance. Looks like this is all trolls.
Would also like to take a small minute to point out the irony here. Troll the Noob.
I did think of that, but we've been having a lot to talk about.
Yeah. It's a little on the nose, too.
Well, you know, sometimes you just gotta call your shots.
Troll the New now playing pretty
Speaking of shots,
aggressively.
though, Troll catching Slamuel out at the Raptors.
He says, that's my bird.
No, I eat the bird. It's my chicken dinner.
So Harold now in the pockets of Mark Cabello here. Definitely looking to make a big play here as the turret plating is still up. Definitely good to make the play. Get that huge cash inflow.
Speaking of plates, the only one that's been picked up is a little while ago, Ash managed to capitalize on that Earth Drake and grab a bit of extra gold for Feral with a quick tower plate in bottom. Everything else's plating is still up, so if Troll can manage to drop this Herald in a way that grabs a plated turret, not only will the turret itself be a huge swing, but it will be the vast majority of all plate gold taken this game.
We see Slamuel here in this bot lane trying to sneak into the lane here undetected. Looks like he has managed to do so. Oh, seeing the blade missing there. I think Magic Knights.
I think Magic Knights may have just saved their own life by missing.
Slamuel lurking.
Slamuel wants it. He wants it so bad, and there it
goes! Flash coming through from Magic Knights, but the enchanted arrow will land in
Magic's got that Eclipse defense, but it's not going to hold him up long enough. Whoa! Oh,
unbelievable. No. Well done there from Joe.
I thought that oh god, I can't talk. That Magic Knights had saved his life for just a second there by queuing his way out. Wow, rooted, but just too much damage coming in. And there's that flurry I was talking about from Ash, that multi-attack. I'm gonna have to watch her and try to figure out if I can see that doing true damage to the turret or not.
Next objective in the eyes of Endgame here is the second Drake.
And that Cloud Drake, you know, a lot of people talked about Cloud Drake being the worst or like not caring about it. I don't know about everybody else, but I always found that rotation speed really useful. And it looks like Troll agrees as he comes in for the very, very risky steal.
Oh!
And gets it!
And we'll be taking down Slamuel here. Magic Knight's also back up, making Arcane maybe a bad now, as Bo is now on him with lots of Fury stacked up. Witchblade's now joining the fight, trying to save Makey's life, but will not be able to do so in time. Zenith Blade does Bo, but Logawa's now here to get some of this action here. Time Rewind coming in from Witchblades, but he will also be falling, and that is lots of kills going over in favor of Endgame.
That was a massive, massive event on both sides.
For sure.
Like,
Troll able to pick up that Drake, but
paying for it dearly.
Yeah, Makey tried to get pretty aggressive there to save that team fight by going over that wall, but probably a little bit too aggressive there.
I have to say though, possibly paying a bit too dearly. I know that I was just talking about how much I actually like Cloud Drake, how much I think it's a great buff.
Also, a quick amendment to that, with the changes in the Dragon now, Cloud Drake doesn't give the movement speed, it gives ultimate cooldown reduction.
Oh, see? Yep, there's my age showing again. So
also
yeah,
very good.
That's extreme. No, that's amazing. I love that. Yeah. Cool.
10% per. It's quite effective.
Wow, that's frankly. Oh goodness, I completely missed that Herald came down.
Yeah, getting that cash influx there in the mid lane.
And that's what I was talking about. But honestly, it's a good thing they did, because that fight over Dragon, what I was building up to was they picked up that Cloud Drake, but gave to a gold lead now of 3,000 in Endgame's favor at 13 minutes.
Yeah, especially like for one Drake. While it is Cloud Drakes are full. Endgame would only have had 2 drags there and wouldn't quite be eyeing that soul yet, so it's a trade that happened. Maybe not quite worth, but could be worse.
Oh, it could certainly be worse. They could have gotten nothing from it.
They did get the drag.
And that ultimate cooldown could really end up mattering. We've got some seriously high impact ultimates on MFC's side here. We've got Magic Knights on that Solar Flare. We've got Mundo just saying, nope, I'm never going to die. We've got Echo.
Coming in for the flank.
Yeah, Bo looking to make something happen here, but bit too much vision.
But yeah, like you're saying, like especially when Mundo, there's a huge difference between when Mundo has his ultimate and
Doesn't?
when he does.
Yeah, and yeah, they've got it. That's true of. Oh, hang on. Looks like Little Gawa maybe in a bit of a bad spot here. Except here comes Slamuel to try to help. This is engaging into 2v3 at least for the moment, though. Here comes Bo to try to turn the numbers. Flashes coming down.
Oh my
Lots
goodness.
of damage coming out from Bo, completely stripping the health of everyone on the blue side. And yikes, in a familiar refrain now, Bo going on a rampage and turning that fight in his favor.
Yeah, Bo definitely the difference maker in there. Popped his ultimate while he was walking towards that fight. Just completely shredding through the members of the Mark Cabello Fan Club.
And speaking of shredding, Magic Knight's down, hunkered behind his bot turret, but took a huge amount of damage from Feral chasing him. Feral's ult's got a good bit of cooldown left, but if Magic hangs out here too long, Feral might be able to get a little pushy. Meanwhile, though, in a very rare event to my understanding, we see a second Herald being taken.
For those of you who are unaware of the changes in Season 10, Herald will spawn in a second time. I believe it's 5 minutes after the first Herald has been taken down, as long as Baron has not spawned in.
And it's funny that I missed that because I was about to make a comment about, hey, they might be able to get 2 Heralds. This is happening so early. Oh, wait, no, that's not a thing. Oh, wait, yes, it is. Goodness gracious.
Joe and Bo eyeing Troll there, but...
Oh, speaking of Bo eyeing, though. Witchblade's with that ultimate to just say, oh, God, never mind, but...
Time rewind, OP. Third dragon will be spawning in here momentarily. Both teams rotating towards this objective.
And it is an Ocean Drake, and that's going to be a big deal in this match, seeing as there is no innate team healing on either side of this game. Getting that little boost to hold you between fights and sieges is going to make a big difference.
Endgame definitely has priority over this objective. Got that control in that bush there. Makey having some difficulty clearing out, but there he gets it. Yeah, Ocean Drag definitely has some interesting dynamics there with those extra bushes coming up, or Ocean Rift, excuse me. Herald, though, being popped in mid lane, trying to draw some pressure.
I was going to ask you about that because I noticed that the map had changed last time, but I didn't know if it was unique.
Oh, Troll getting caught out.
Going on.
Troll will be stunned up by the passive there from Sejuani, but Magic Knight's trying to go in and buy some time, but four Trolls.
Magic Knight's definitely sacrificing himself to save his team there, and it's a noble decision, but I don't know if it's going to end up being tactically important here, as this Ocean Drake is melting.
Yeah, and the Herald was unable to crash in mid lane as well, so definitely not so... Oh, Troll going in for a second steal. Oh, but
he got it!
Time rewind, we'll save Witchblade's life. And I'll take that.
Troll refusing to give up this dragon advantage. I don't care what it costs me. I don't care how many spells I've got to burn. These dragons are mine, says Troll.
That's only a one death trade there. Definitely worth here, in my opinion, for Mark and Bello. Well played there by Troll. And that, even if that's only buying them time for endgame not getting the soul, even if they're never able to get the soul, that buys them time for endgame not having the. Then that's great, because Ocean Soul is huge, especially with all these tanky members between Slamiel and Gawa. Being able to heal back up would be nice.
Changes with the Rift as well.
Yeah, Soul is whatever the Rift is.
Okay, cool.
Oh, we do see Mason getting flanked here.
Oh yes, he is. Mikey, Mikey didn't get to play.
Too much CC.
Yep, too much CC. Controller, keyboard dead. Don't know what to do.
Solar Flare trying to save this turret. Xenoblade landing on a bow, and
Actually forcing Bo out very, very quickly here, but Bo coming back in with the ultimate. Here comes the Crystal Arrow, getting a lot of stuns, but I think Bo is pushing a little too hard.
Yeah, Bo's still riding that high from the early game with all that damage put out, but a little bit too much tankiness on the side of Cabello Fan Club here just to burst right through.
Mm-hmm.
Seems play landing again on the Feral Hogs.
Big Q! Feral Hogs! Dude!
Oh, but the brand will... Oh!
Will this ignite? No, not even close.
Oh!
Wait, never mind!
That brand DOT. But if you mark Cabello Fan Club, that's still a great trade for you, even despite losing those last 2 members. Trading even deaths like that, it's definitely something you're not minding doing.
Especially when there's shutdown involved.
Yeah, and the shutdowns. So Makey a little bit further behind in this. Does have fair CS numbers despite some unfortunate deaths. But Cabello Fan Club definitely gonna be looking for him to be scaling up as well as Witchblades here on this Echo.
Certainly.
Hannah been doing a pretty good job CSing with this Ornn on the top lane. Once Mundo gets to that stage, definitely gonna be good for their team fighting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if the late game, the scaling coming through from Ornn is enough to really keep endgame game if we get
fight breaking out in the bot lane. Lots of CC coming down as yikes! Lots of explosions happening. Both high damage dealing Victor's down, and Magic Knights tried to stay in on Feral Hogs for a while, but that was probably a mistake as all those slows come down, enabling Samuel to catch up. CC holding them in place for Feral Hogs to just drill into the armor long enough to take Magic Knights out.
Yeah, 2 for 1 there in the favor of Endgame. Meanwhile, top side, Cabello trying to make something else happen, but Lil Gawa and Bo not gonna get caught up in it.
Yep, it is definitely a problem, but a lot of things are problems both sides right now. This is definitely a match that's going to gain its next momentum swing basically on the next major confrontation, or if it doesn't happen, we're seeing a lot of good pushing attempts come out from these teams. Feral being able to just take advantage of any time he's left alone to strip anything down, especially with that Mountain Drake buff.
Yeah, Feral's looking very clean on this Ashe. We were wondering how he's going to perform, although Slamo maybe probably will be able to dash away.
Yeah, Slamo through the wall and out unless they want to really commit some resources to that. Magic Knights and Bo, though, having a very prolonged exchange.
Next drag also about to spawn. Seems like these drag timers are shorter.
These dragons are doing a lot of their job here, which is coming up just when people are settling into a rhythm and saying, "Hey, did you forget about me? Yeah, I bet you want to do something different now, huh?"
Oh, this time Cabello Fan Club does have that vision control. You'd think they would want to rotate over here and get priority in this river, but they're mid lane right now. And it looks like they might actually end up giving priority over to endgame here if they do end up walking in here first.
Looks about even right now. Yeah, both teams pretty much just edging on their sides, but ooh, a lot of attempts to change the terrain in their favor coming out.
Cabello Fan Club did end up getting into this river here. I do got some wards. The ward was cleared by Lil Gawa there and Joe, but do get the engage onto Slammill here, but we're able to dash away.
But pulling a lot of the members away, this is going to turn into a situation if Slammill down fast enough. He did, but they're still a bit caught out now. Everyone's on the opposite side of the map. Gawa taking a lot of damage, but holding his own.
Hannah just ignoring the damage here. Bodo on the back line, able to...
Mundo going where he pleases as this fight shakes out pretty much in endgames. No, this is going to be...
Yeah, endgame.
Yep, endgame. Yep, excuse me. Got the colors reversed again. Endgame taking the fight, and with a bow to tank and Feral Hogs to burn it down, that is going to be the Ocean Drake.
And that fight was looking, honestly, pretty much in the favor of Cabello Fan Club. Hannah was soaking up so much pressure and damage on on the back line. But Bo was really the difference maker. He got onto the back Markable Fan Club, and I feel like there was not enough attention made to that fact, and kind of sliced through the team.
Well, and in a way, that's exactly what we saw before. Bo on that melee carry in mid, waiting until they can just dive into the back and just setting up shop. And the downside is, if it doesn't work, he can leave his team a bit isolated, and that's where Hannah came in and soaked up so much of the team's punishment, was able to just stand there taking care of things, but Bo was able to get his job done just fast enough.
Yeah, and again, the difference maker in that fight being Bo on this Renekton, but at some point he will start to fall off despite his massive goal lead that he's got. And will the Ornn upgrades be enough to keep them in this game is the question I keep thinking about.
That is a good thing to consider, and honestly though, I think the tool I'd be leaning on at that point, more so than the Ornn upgrades, keeping your Renekton being an absolute murder machine, is that by the time they get there, even if it's happened more slowly...
Oh. 3 members mid able to pick off Feral Hogs here. And a shutdown there going on to Makey. I believe it was Makey.
Yeah, and that actually plays a lot into what I was about to talk about, as Bo gets jumped on by Troll, but this is an exchange Bo might not be able to win once Hannah comes in to help. Those cleavers doing percent. Oh! Widening the wall just enough that the dash cannot put them through, leads to Bo's demise.
And Witchblade's also rotating bot here to answer Logawa. But mid lane.
But Witchblade's just not having the damage to get through little Gawa's tankiness as another fight breaks out in mid.
Oh, nice plays by Makey here, trying to get the kill onto Joe, but the Zhonya's will delay that from happening. Heal popping out for Makey to keep him alive here.
Joe does go down.
And will be too much for them to do, as Magic Knights will also probably fall. TP coming in here from Witchblades, but it might be late.
Oh, that jump! Come on, the stun.
Magic Knights barely hanging on with their life here. Zenith Blade will get the kill onto Slamuel here as he's trying to run away from Logawa, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it. Witchblade's now in a 1v1 here, but not sure if he's going to be able to do this. He is getting a little bit low on mana. 2 members from Markable Fan Club now, Troll the Noob and Hanny, rotating down here, trying to cut off Logawa. But maybe a little too late.
Just barely, and that absolute tanking power of... Oh, wait, hang on, Little Gawa maybe got a little bit too pushy there, walking into the column as Bo jumps in to start laying out the damage. Standing in Mundo, though, that's a little dangerous. They do not want to deal with Bo, though, and have just decided to mostly... Oh, wait! No! Here comes the Crystal Arrow! Stunning Hannah in her tracks. The column comes up behind her. She's blasted into the air by Little Gawa. Taken down by Bo's cleave. Goodness, this is a fight that just keeps pretending to end.
Lots of CC there, though. This lockdown Hannah. Oh, they really just sliced right through that tanky health bar.
And that's the thing. It is a tanky bar. I can see why you'd feel safe walking through, but oh boy, this is starting to get a bit chaotic.
And Executioner's Calling is in the pocket here, Feral Hog, on top of just the large amount of gold that he has, so we'll be doing a decent amount to Hannah here, at least in the short term.
Well, anytime you turn off Mundo's healing, Mundo's got a problem.
This is also true. But also, during that fight, before Troll and Hannah rotated down, they did get that top turret.
Yeah, pushed back to inhibitor turrets on top for endgame. This is a weirdly familiar position.
Dragon once again about to spawn in here. And Markable Fan Club definitely with priority here, trying to get some wards down. And see who will be taking up the 3rd Drake.
And that's the thing. It is a 3rd for either team. The fights for the Drakes in this game have been heated and close.
Feral Hogs might be walking into a bad spot. Team's play landing onto Slamuel.
Very caught out here.
Getting bursted down here.
Burned down, more like. That was a lot of DPS.
Oh, but the return kill coming in. CC and Slows coming on to Magic Knights.
And I'd say that's a pretty even exchange. Both teams lost a CC and tank. This is still a fight that either one could decide to take. Though with Bo filling in for a lot of that CC, here it comes!
Oh, Witchblade, nice
diving
kill.
into the back line, attempting to chew out Ezreal, using the flash to catch him after the dive. And there, once again, Bo diving in and just killing the damage, hiding behind the tanks, leaving the tanks alone to just kind of slowly fall as they fail to put out damage.
Yeah, Makey, I didn't actually see Makey getting taken down there, but it did happen very early, and I feel like Cabello Fan Club needs to play these fights differently. They need to play much more calm and collected and organized. They need to really peel Makey here in these fights because...
They very much do. That is exactly what Bo is capitalizing on, is he's diving into the back and killing him before they can get any damage. Their tanks are in front. They are walking in first, but Makey's just ignoring... Bo is just ignoring them.
I feel like it's a very avoidable issue as well.
You know, it usually feels that way, especially from an outside perspective, but sometimes it does get really tricky, especially if your carry is a carry like Ezreal that has that ability to move for themselves. Sometimes the tanks can't keep up, or the distance gets too great while the tanks go forward and the carry is forced to move back, but then you just got to ask yourself, one of them's got to move a different direction.
It also feels like Hannah's been a little bit late on these fights. I'm not sure if she's been late to the team, but it seems like she ends up being left at the end to kind of like 1v3 members of Endgame, and I feel like if she's helping to peel as well, maybe just play as a defensive role here in these team fights as well might be beneficial for them. Just have all gather up around Makey.
The other option they have is for Hannah to just go on her own. That AoE Mundo has and really lets him just camp out in a lane if he wants to, but I feel like they're not capitalizing on that. And Hannah does have the teleport to join them in emergencies.
Little Goblin, a little bit of a bad spot here. Does mess up that blast cone. Let's allow him to get back over the wall here, and now Troll the Bastard.
If you put him into 4 members of your team, and that's Troll the Noob getting swamped.
Yeah, Troll needed to hit that blast cone before Little Goblin could have gotten over to it.
Unfortunately now, though, I think this Baron might burn down a little too quickly because MFC is just not responding here. And they do have a numbers disadvantage, but if they want to contest, this is their only chance. Looks like they're just going to give it up.
I believe that's the second Baron of the series, both in the hands of Endgame.
And Magic Knight's a little caught out here with Witchblade. Witchblade getting a high damage ultimate, but putting himself in a super dangerous position, and he ends up paying for it.
Yeah, if he was able to get an ultimate like that in a real team fight, it'd be completely devastating, but... Unfortunately, caught out like that, not going to do much.
Yep, and with that Baron Siege coming in, with a cannon available, this is about to get real messy.
Yeah, once again, Cabello Fan Club on the brink of losing this game. Just a short span here.
Yeah, again, it was a game of these last few moments. Oh, massive knock up by Little Golic here. Fight breaking out under the turret as the tanks of both teams standing in front of Magic Knights just cannot take the constant punishment from Feral. Too many arrows.
Yeah, Feral absolutely shredding through these tanks right now.
What's Feral got letting him do that?
He's got that upgraded Bork as well as you'd think he'd be trying to finish off Mortal next. And once he gets that at him, it's going to be pretty gross.
Yeah, he's just got a lot of damage coming out. And Blade of the Ruined King, does that still give you % damage on every attack? Because if it does...
It does.
Yep.
So, but ultimately, Endgame backing off here, not even taking down the turret. So if you're on Cabello Fan Club, you're not too bad about that.
Yeah, you're a lot happier than you could have been.
So we were talking about how the Ornn is going to impact the scaling here, and I feel like I've come to the conclusion that I feel like it's definitely going to be enough to this game. Ornn is just way too strong right now with the amount of gold that he adds on to the items in value. So I think it's definitely going to keep them in the game. It's going to be pretty even here going down the stretch. It's going to be which team executes better, especially once Cabello Fan Club is able to get a few more items in their pocket.
And that's what I was going to say, is that, yes, while those Ornn endgame scales do help, and especially on those scaling champions like Ashe and Brand, they are the ones getting to scale. They're up by over 7,000 gold now. Endgame is just controlling the economy in this game, and when both teams are trying to scale, it really shows if you're ahead by that much.
And that gold lead is not even taking into account the extra.
No, that's not taking into account the Ornn value at all. That is the gold value that they have spent in the shop on the items they have in their pocket.
So definitely a little bit of a hurdle here, needing to be climbed by Markable Fan Club to even out the state of the game, but definitely.
And speaking of hurdles, it looks like we're setting up some obstacles in the river for this dragon on the side of Endgame.
Oh!
Troll getting walked into the stun there, gonna take a huge amount of damage. He's not gonna die, but he is removed from this fight.
And this is pretty much free dragon soul here for Endgame. I don't see any way that you can contest this in a 5v5. The only thing would be try to have Troll just go in and steal it. Well, he's already low on HP. Try to have him flash the wall or something.
It looks like they're going to try anyway. They are. Desperate times call for desperate measures. The dragon does get taken by Endgame, but the fight is engaged in earnest. So far, though, it is not looking good for Markavilla Fan Club as their team is split up. Hannah is getting burned down in the back line.
Makey is still alive. But
everyone else has escaped, but Hannah paid dearly for it. And that's going to put the power play in Endgame's hands here with the Ocean Dragon fixing everything up from that fight. This is another bad position for Fan Club.
And all three lanes are pushed right now for Endgame to see a way to damage. And Endgame definitely able to push any lane they want here.
And in fact, I think bottom was a good choice with the pressure they have in the other lanes. Fight breaking out again. Little Gawa getting stunned, but dodging back out to catch Magic Knight. Magic Knight goes down in the CC. Another death into the tower. There goes Magic Sword. Magic Knight or whatever he is. Oh my gosh.
Makey getting taken down here, and things looking very bad for Markaville Fan Club. Endgame able to win a 3v4 on that bot lane, while...
And I think this might be the end.
Ace coming through for Endgame here. Endgame breaking down the Nexus turrets. Hannah alive, trying to do anything she possibly can, but 20 seconds on the closest member.
But that Ashe is just gonna...
Dat Ashe taking down the Nexus. Endgame picking up game number 2.
Yep, that is 2 wins for Endgame, and 2 very similar wins too, if I may point out. I think that Markaville Fan Club, they are not out. They are getting good plays. They have some chances left in this, but they have got to start making a major change to their strategy. What they are doing now is not working.
Yeah, Markaville Fan Club has definitely been hanging around in both of these games, but it seems like when it gets to these later stages, post 30 minutes, it seems like they can't quite handle the pressure that and coordination in team fights or just in macro coming through from. Both of these games ended quite abruptly around the same kind of time.
Interesting note on these charts, though. We were talking about the scaling of different champions. Bo, as terrifying as he was, dealing significantly less damage than Ashe here, who's... Oh my god, I cannot remember his name right now.
Feral?
Yes, Feral, thank you. Feral, though, cranking out the damage on Ashe, and we talked about how Ashe is not considered an endgame hyper carry anymore, but that damage chart begs to differ.
Yeah, Feral was definitely a monster on this Ashe, and I was posing the question here. We hadn't seen him on too many different AD carries. To see him on Lava Felios, on a lot of Caitlyn. Was banned off those champions, but definitely performed here on this champion. And honestly, I feel like a huge reason why they didn't have any problems falling off here, as the Renekton would have been scaling off a little bit as the game was going on. But Feral was just able to put out excessive amounts of damage and didn't die a lot in these team fights. Only had 2 deaths. So really was consistently able to just put out lots of DPS in these team fights.
Certainly. But then even so, Renekton's damage may fall off, but CC and health, no matter what stage of the game it is, if someone is just standing in your face, hitting you in the face with a, well, in this case, lifeguard raft over and over and over again, you are going to feel it, especially if it stuns you and you cannot make them stop.
For sure. And also, a big thing from the club was Dragons from Troll the Noob. definitely delaying that Dragon Soul for a while, and
Oh, heck yes.
definitely keeping them, making it easier for them to try to scale up here.
Oh,
But
yeah. M
wasn't quite enough.
Fan Club definitely had some points in their favor. Troll getting those great dragon steals is one of them. Magic Knights was able to do a lot, landing his stuns and getting in and just soaking up damage so that it wasn't going into other members of the team. Getting those shield punch stuns as well. There were some good moves on the side of MCF. It's just that end game coordination matched their name. When it got to the end game, as soon as they saw an end, they just grabbed it. And once they started to do that, they kind of caught Fan Club in a bit of a rout.
Definitely well played here. And through the first 2 games by end game, Little Gawa has just honestly been a solid rock in this top lane. Hasn't been doing too much, but definitely is holding down the fort. And Slamiel and Bo and Farrell able to just kind of definitely exert some dominance through the first 2 games here so far. And if Markville Fan Club is looking to take down game, it's gonna have to tighten up just a little bit. But definitely have been playing well themselves through the first 2. So I am definitely excited to get into game number 3 and see if they're able to come back in the series.
They're definitely not out of it. They have tools. They've got the stuff to do this. It's just a matter of, will they find the strategy in this chance to take it home? Because if I'm on MCF, I'm saying, guys, we got to try something new.
Yeah, and ultimately, I feel like it's really just the difference here is the team fighting. When you break it down, we get to these later stages of the game, it seems like end game is just has that edge. And I feel like this is the coordination in the team fights here from Mark Cabello Fan Club is not quite there. I feel like they need to just make a few minor adjustments, and they're going to be right back in this series. So we're going to take a short break here, get things ready for game number 3, and then we'll be right back into that.